Hello, what's up everyone? Welcome to another Boleros episode. So today is our last fantasy draft episode. So it's going to be a bit more special today kasi apat kaming magda-draft. We invited another special guest and a good friend of the Boleros podcast. You've seen him before from the Lasal Fantasy Draft. Welcome back to Apo. Hi Apo, say hi to everyone.
Hello everyone. Thank you again for having me.
May sa lista.
Go Lasal.
Okay, yan. So sa mga
Para di
thank
kami
you
bias,
Apo.
hindi kami bias.
Oo, exactly. Dun sa mga nagko-comment na baka puro Atenista yung nagda-draft, napaka-bias, ganyan. Imbita kami ng fellow ka-basketball namin na from Lasal. Parang he can also share his perspective about Ateneo from a Lasalista's perspective. Unfortunately, di ba, we wanted to do 4 people din sa Lasal draft pero Dale couldn't make it that time. So we ended up with 3. Pero uh, if magrereklamo kayo, bakit apat yung nandito sa Ateneo draft? Well, what can we say? Ateneo and Lasal are the winningest teams in the UAAP in like the past how many seasons, 'di ba? Like I think sila lang Ateneo, Lasal and FEU lang ang multiple championships in like the 2000s. The
Oo.
other schools
Since,
UP,
since,
NU isa lang 'di ba?
since
So
the
that's
start of the millennia. Oo.
okay, correct. Exactly. So that's the reason why we're doing 4 people dito sa Ateneo draft. And as you can see from our list, we have a very long list of Ateneo players in today's draft. So Gab, can you again briefly explain ano yung rules natin for this draft? Para dun sa mga hindi nakakaalam.
Alright, so standard snake draft tayo. No positions. Draft however you want to form your team. And we're only drafting based on how they performed in their Ateneo days. Okay. Ateneo, not from if they transferred to another school, di yung counted. Okay. Jerry Pingoy, yung Arvin Tolentino, hindi sila counted. So, yun. Masaya to dahil ang dami pagpipilian.
Okay, so we already determined the order of the draft. So ang order natin as we showed kanina, what can I say? Ako ulit ang first pick, which, alam mo, honestly, like, nahirapan ako pag ako yung first pick. Gab is the second pick, Apo is the third pick, and then Maui will be the fourth pick. Since snake draft tayo, as Gab mentioned, Maui will pick again. We'll pick first dun sa second round naman, and then pabaliktad. So, Apo, Gab, and then myself as the last pick. Okay? So, I think that's about it. Na-cover naman natin lahat. Really excited to do this and to finally finish this fantasy draft. So, let's begin. Okay. Since ako pala yung first pick, no? Oo nga pala. As I mentioned, yung Ateneo draft, sobrang deep ng draft na to. They have a lot of winning teams. Marami silang championship teams, marami silang naging MVP candidates or winners, mythical 5 players, and naging superstars. So it was very difficult to decide kung sino yung magiging number 1 pick for this draft. I'm so most of the people that I'm going to pick, I based obviously on talent, on their success as players on the team, but also kinonsider ko din maybe something that I didn't consider in other drafts. I considered their impact to the Ateneo team, to the Ateneo community. And I think for me,
Community, Ateneo community.
community ganun.
NBA
And I
area.
think for me, isa sa mga pinaka-impactful player sa Ateneo, and I wanna argue, one of the people that probably kick-started or parang revived yung Ateneo program. Na nung dumating siya, medyo dun, I don't know, I feel like dun nabuhay yung belief na pwede pala may pag-asa manalo yung Ateneo dito sa Lasal. Kasi ilang 4 feet na yung Lasal noon or ilang feet na yung Lasal noon, no? So I am picking an oldie, pero naglalaro pa rin siya ngayon. Piliin ko si Teniente. si L.A. Tenorio as my number
Ah,
one pick.
point guard.
Mr. Iron Man.
Wow.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, thoughts, yeah, Gab, parang medyo surprised ka.
Oh, I'm actually surprised. I would have thought he would have gone mga second round, third round.
Hmm.
But I can't complain. I mean, sobrang galing ni LA Tenorio when he came in to when he came into the UAP. I think you said it, Sam, nung pagdating niya pa lang as a rookie, uh, ibang klase yung impact niya. I remember his rookie year, we faced LaSalle in the finals in 2001. In game
Talo.
2, I think he scored 38
Right,
points.
exactly.
But he kept the game close against sila Red Tualo, Mike Cortez in 2001. We ultimately lost, pero I do remember he scored 38 points. As in, siya lang talaga bumubuhay sa Ateneo. And throughout his career, he was excellent, and the longevity speaks for itself. Yung tapang beda yan eh. The beda blood lives in him.
Yeah,
Maui,
correct.
Apo.
Maui, Apo.
Actually, di ako surprised. To be honest, Eddie Tenorio sa top rin ng list ko. Impactful kasi siya. One of the reasons why is when you enter Ateneo, most of the time, especially during this millennia, pagpasok mo, hindi ka naman agad impact player eh. Not all players na nung pumasok ng Ateneo, na naging star players ng Ateneo during these 2000s, impactful agad. But you mentioned nga, Gab, very memorable yung one game nung finals nung 2001 nung rookie pa lang si LA Tenorio and he scored over 30 points. And also sa finals pa and against LaSalle. So parang that to me was LA Tenorio was I am a small guy, so LA Tenorio is sa mga is sa mga idol talaga kasi kita mo naman wala yung height eh. Wala yung height. Talagang pinupuso lang din tsaka skill. Kakaiba yung skill. Yan.
Apo, how do you feel about LA Tenorio given that he punched Jerwin Gako?
Actually, well, kasi bilang naglalaro din ako, tas I'm a small guy also, sobrang nakaka-believe hindi lang siya maliit eh. I mean, kung naalala niyo yung college days niya, sobrang payat niya, hindi siya mukhang college
Payat,
player.
oo,
Mukha
tama.
siyang high school. Pero tas he came in during that time na solid yung LaSalle press nun. Tapos bilang siya yung point guard, nakahandle niya eh. Di ba? He could do it. Tas yung speaking about the longevity, yung pumasok yung UAAP channel, I was watching PBA finals, Hinebra. Tapos paglipat ko up channel, yung Ateneo finals, parang, oh my God. Binuhay niya yung Studio 23 na sobrang pangit po nang hanggang ngayon, naglalaro pa rin siya.
Oh.
Exactly.
Actually,
Exactly, I agree. Like, good points. Ako, I cannot stress the fact na nung rookie year ni LA, nag 30 plus points siya against a team with Ren Ritualo and that LaSalle defense. Walang nakakalusot sa defense na yun eh. I know sobrang lakas na nung Ateneo high school to college team na yun, obviously sina Villanueva, sina Fonashare. But I think LA was the difference maker talaga, was the X factor when he joined the team that made the team more complete talaga.
I mentioned it because yun yung isa sa mga hindi ko lang kung masama, pero yun yung core memory ko kay LA Tenorio, yung sinapak niya si Jerwin Gako. Na-realize ko, I wasn't there live. I was watching in a auditorium sa grade school. Tapos, di ba nag-brawl nun eh. Yung nag-brawl sa Ateneo sa game, tapos galit lahat kay Jerwin Gako. Tapos nung pinakita yung replay na narapak si LA Tenorio, yung lahat kami sa grade school, oh shit.
Yun na nga yung tapang niya kasi
Tama.
Gako's a big guy compared to Tenorio.
Iba yung tapang ng Tenorio. Tama.
That's true.
Oh.
Okay, Gab. You're the next pick.
For my first pick, in a draft full of talent, I will unquestionably go with the best talent available. So, in my opinion, he is the most talented player to ever don an Ateneo jersey. Kiefer, the Phenom, Ravenna. I don't think there's any doubt that he is the most talented. Diba?
Back-to-back MVP, no?
So,
Back-to-back MVP.
yes, back-to-back
Yeah.
MVP. You could argue he was a 3-time MVP kung wala si Bobby Ray Parks nung rookie year niya.
Mhm.
Diba?
Pero Rookie of
Tapos,
the Year din siya nun, di ba?
yeah, Rookie
Yes.
of the Year.
Yeah.
They had to
Yeah.
give him some award.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Kasi si Bobby Ray Parks was a rookie also, pero siya yung MVP. So, automatically, di ba, dapat siya yung Rookie of the Year. Pero,
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, di ko alam paano nangyari hanggang ngayon. Di ko alam.
Hindi,
ako rin hindi ko alam, pero
potentially, Gab, kaya nangyari yan kasi diba may rule in UAAP. You have to be a legitimate freshman. Before kasi you had to, pag galing ka,
Yeah, ang alam ko, hindi ba siya freshman talaga?
pag galing kang abroad kasi before, you had to sit out,
Hindi
1 year.
counted. Naalala ko nga
I'm
yun.
not sure if the rule still stands. So parang hindi na kasi marami ng dalex ng mga Phil-Ams na
Yeah.
naglalaro agad.
Yeah.
So,
Ako yung
one of the reasons.
Yeah, ako the one thing, you can't question yung talent talaga ni Kiefer. I think another example na mention mo, Gab or Maui, another guy that na rookie pa lang, ang laki na ng impact sa team, champion agad, starter. And I remember kasi si Kiefer is 2 batches below us, 'di ba? I remember ganun din siya nung high school, 'di ba? Rookie pa lang, parang 6th man na siya or basta he was playing
Siya lang yung freshman.
freshman, 'di ba?
siya lang yung freshman.
Yun
Ganun,
din, 'di ba?
oo.
So tama. So apo kasi sa amin, at least I'm not sure if sa other schools ganun, pero usually yung UAAP team ang nakakapasok lang doon sophomore up to seniors. Pero si Kiefer, he was so good na freshman pa lang siya, pasok siya dun sa UAAP team namin nung high school. So mula high school pa lang ganyan na yan si Kiefer. So you can't deny the talent talaga.
Grade school pa lang yung inaabangan na siya ng UAAP. Diba? Yung grade school pa lang yung alam ng mga tao na this guy is the future. Kasi sobrang galing niya. And trivia for all the audience watching, he actually came from LaSalle.
Sallian.
Yeah, LaSalle.
Yeah, I remember he was playing for the SBP team of LaSalle, then transferred to Ateneo. I'm not sure if the reasons are correct, pero alam ko parang binintang siya ng mga parents na luto daw eh. Nung SBP.
Ang rumor
Yung
was,
chismis.
Oo, chismis siya. Pero, well, I was too young that
Hindi
time.
naman natin alam kung totoo.
Inaway daw siya. Hindi ko alam.
Oo, yung inaway daw siya ng mga alumni ng LaSalle eh.
Yeah.
As a grade 4 kid. Luto daw.
Well, again, Gab, chismis lang chismis. Baka yung LaSalle community magalit sa atin. Kasi yun yung chismis. That's yun lang masasabi namin. But thank you, LaSalle, for sending Kiefer to our way. And third D. Siguro, na yun, di ba? Like, Ateneo na si Kiefer. So, in Ateneo na rin si third D.
Package deal yun. And I just wanna, if there's one fault of Kiefer Ravenna, I think he's a bit too unselfish. I mean, nung college hindi halata eh, dahil he was coached by Bo. At yung play lang ni Bo is bigay yung Kiefer, ibigay yung bola kay Kiefer. Pero I think ngayon, yung fault niya is sobrang unselfish niya masyado. I think if you watch the Gilas games, there are times he passes up shots kasi siya yung point guard, as he opts to pass the ball. Ewan ko kung na-notice niyo yun nung sa mga past FIBA windows. Ayaw niya tumira ko.
I think, Gab, it's a byproduct rin ng it's a byproduct na nasa Japan na siya naglalaro. Yung style of play is really different compared sa style of play ng mga players coming from here. You can see it naman sa players like si Dwight Ramos. Hindi rin siya ganun ka-assertive, parang picking spots. Pero sa mga sa mga reklamo ng mga tao, parang masyadong passive si Kiefer compared to before.
And there are times just go Mau. Sige Mau, go Mau.
We're used to seeing kasi Kiefer talaga as a scoring machine, not as the point guard that he's been playing abroad. Ngayon.
Yeah, but yung tama. I was gonna say na during the Gilas games, there are times that we just need to get a bucket, diba? And
Right.
I'm always shouting at the TV, Kiefer, just do your thing. Stop passing. Kaya kayo makascore. There are times sobrang, alam mo, open na siya. Kaya lang niya i-lay up or i-floater, pero hindi niya ginagawa. Pinapasa niya palagi. Ano, perhaps yun nga, from the influence of the game in Japan, he's more of a distributor now. Pero he can still score eh. Yun lang. Ayun nga, yung tama ka, Maui. We're so used to seeing him score. At yeah, he's just so
Okay.
talented.
Sige. So we have LA and Kiefer off the board. Apo, sino pipiliin mo as your first pick sa Ateneo draft?
Okay, for my first pick, I'll pick yung kapatid. I'll get 30 Ravenna.
Bad trip. Well, makes sense. Go, Apo. Explain.
With 30, lalo na especially his last few years, he was cruising sa regular season, sa eliminations. And then pagdating ng Final Four, parang he was literally LeBron. Parang ganun. Wala siyang katapat in terms of yung katawan niya and then his speed. Grabe. He was playing within the system during the eliminations. Tapos pag it's game time, yun na. It's the real 30.
Yeah, actually,
There's such a
I just want to
finals
say,
already, di ba?
I just want to say, actually, Gab, ha, I was choosing between LA and 30 as my first pick. I would have picked 30 over Kiefer just because 30
Really?
has 30, well, I can't deny yung talent ni Kiefer, pero 30 has, parang tinitingnan ko siya from the Ateneo perspective eh. Tatlo championship ni 30 eh. And I can
MVP
argue
lahat.
na yung
MVP lahat.
championship, yung MVP lahat, tapos yung championships ni 30 mas mahirap kay Kiefer. Kasi yung kay Kiefer parang favorite yung Ateneo nung twice na yun eh. Yung kay 30, yun yung impossible championship eh, na tinalo natin yung
Yeah,
Ben
Embala.
Embala
Yeah.
Lasal eh. So,
Kasalanan yun ni Bo.
actually may point ka dyan. Baka, medyo baka nasira din si Kiefer dahil, maybe hindi ganun ka-fit yung system ni Bo. But anyway, sorry, you were gonna say something about 30. But I like the pick, Apo. I agree.
I was gonna say yung finals 30 was a pleasure to watch, especially yung against UP. Yeah, yung tama ka, Apo. Parang nga siya si LeBron. Walang nakakapigil sa kanya. And I do remember the leap he took in terms of his body when he came back from that 1-year academic
Yeah.
suspension ba yun? Basta he was suspended by Ateneo because hindi siya nag-aaral. Tapos, when he came back, he was so jacked.
Wake up call niya yun.
Lumaki yung katawan. Diba? And that really helped his game kasi it was a trademark na sobrang unstoppable niya driving to the basket and fishing for fouls kasi he didn't have a consistent outside shot except in the finals. Doon na naging consistent yung outside shot niya. Pero otherwise, yung wala siyang tire.
Okay. 30, the two Ravenas of the board. Can you imagine? Magkapatid na Ravena nasa top 3 ng Ateneo draft. Maui, back-to-back picks ka. Pero who are you picking for your first round pick?
Actually, si 30 talaga, kung ako first pick, si 30 talaga pipiliin ko. Just to add lang dun sa kanina.
Agree.
Kakaiba kasi yung versatility ni 30. I think, kahit din, let's say, kahit nung time ni Ike or let's say nung tumawid kay Kwame, kahit naka small ball 4 tayo, kaya kasi because of the versatility that he brings sa rebounding din. Maraming iconic rebounds si 30, especially sa finals against Lasal. Nung first finals, kung titignan niyo yung clips sa UAAP. Saka, parang in connection to my next pick, si 30, yung talagang, yung kagaya sabi nyo, unstoppable nung finals. Tsaka kakaiba talaga yung nadala na naggaling sa Ateneo. Kaya nag 16-0 rin talaga yung Ateneo last year. Anyway, yung next pick ko, isa sa mga players na talaga nag-breakout rin sa mga finals games ng Ateneo. I think he had a 30-point game against UE nung finals. Against sila Poli pa ata nung time na yon. I'm picking Raba Aluseni. To me,
Wow!
si Raba kasi is any era can play. May tira sa labas, can drive. This guy is, to me, yung parang mga what could have been na players sa Philippine basketball. He could have converted into a power forward and still dominated sa pro or even kahit sa Asia man lang with sight of 6'7". Nung simula, nire-roast pa ng Ateneo community. Pero nung end, grabe.
Yeah.
Halimaw talaga.
Sobrang nire-roast siya.
Wala talagang makatigil. To me, mas ano pa siya, mas dominant pa siya kaysa nung time ni Greg Slaughter. Second to Umbala siguro. Itong past the millennia. Si Raba Aluseni talaga. Which is why he also won, I think, back-to-back MVPs. Or average like 20 and 10 in the season.
I think for me,
One lang, diba?
Baka
2008?
baka one. I think si Jervy Cruz ata nakaisa.
For me, I wanna say I would argue na siguro si Raba yung best offensive most versatile offensive big ng Ateneo. I wanna say like tama ka Maui, ang dami niyang pwede gawin like offensively, like he was so dominant nung last few years niya.
I was gonna say, yung kaya ako medyo nagulat Maui when you picked Raba. Kasi I didn't have him, one of the top big men. Especially because of what you said, na he was roasted. At yun yung memory ko kay Raba. Nung early years talaga niya. So, hindi siya nag-e-effort. He wasn't that guy. He was the guy na hindi bababa sa court, hindi nagba-box out. So, yun yung memory ko yung kay Raba. Kaya hindi ko siya masyado consider as one of the top big men. Although I do remember yung 30-point game niya against UE. I was there, yung playing the drums sa taas. So, I do remember that 30-point game. Wow, Raba. Apo, hindi ba yung si Raba sa'yo? Mayabang din siya.
Yeah, pero he backs it up yung last 2 years na naging very solid na scorer talaga. Actually, maganda siyang panoorin pag when you're into that old school basketball na low post game. Saya.
That's true. Old school game nga siya. But I think he could have extended this game. Yung tama si Maui. He could have played in any era. Kung extend mo yung range to the 3-point line, I think kaya naman niya. Maui.
Okay, Maui. You pick next ulit.
Next pick ko, start na natin yung mga wings.
Kung pipiliin mo.
for me, siguro numbers doesn't speak much when you pick this player. But when you think about Ateneo basketball sa 2000s, you cannot say Ateneo basketball without his name. Kumbaga, magtanong ka ng 10 Atenista, baka sino pinaka-favorite player nila nung 2000s. Baka more than half. Sabihin nila, ito yung pinaka-iconic player. I picked Raba Aluseni, so I'm picking the player that really pushed his game to the next level na ibang klaseng playmaker din kasi tsaka kakaiba yung presence sa court. I'm picking Ryan Buenafe.
Ooh.
Okay, Ryan Buenafe.
Hey. The GOAT!
4 championships na-miss niya yung last championship.
Yeah, sayang.
Yeah. To me, without Ryan Buenafe, walang 5 feet. Especially the third one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially versus yung sa FEU ba yun?
Yeah.
Yung 3-pointer na, before that game, he was shooting 17%. Tapos, finish up niya lang yung tinira niya. Grabe yung kapal ng mukha nito.
Ito yung clutch.
Waved away Nico Salva. I want to see Nico Salva was coming up. Yeah, no. This guy, the balls of the guy. There were, just like Kiefer Ravena, there was a lot of hype around Ryan Buenafe going into Ateneo because of what he did sa San Sebastian in high school. There was I don't know if it's true. Again, rumors. He scored 100 plus points in one game. I don't know against which team, but he did score 100 plus points. And he was a legend. Sayang na lang na tumaba siya as the years went on. Kasi grabe yung difference ng katawan niya from if you watch his game as a rookie, he was so slim. And if you watch his game nung final year niya, parang nakailang extra rice siya yung every meal. Grabe. But I'm not complaining, Maui. Clutch talaga siya. And the GOAT title has some merit. Pero I'm shocked. I highlighted already someone else. Akala ko siya na yung kukunin mo. But yung medyo nagulat ako sa Ryan Buenafe. Akala ko na talaga may isa kang kukuha eh. May isa kang kukuha.
Pero tama naman. Like for me, at this stage, like it's not surprising to have Ryan Buenafe there. Given yung impact talaga niya dun sa Ateneo team. Yun nga lang, na-miss niya yung last year. Pero tama si Apo. Like walang 5 feet kung wala si Ryan.
And deceptively quick is what I would say about Ryan Buenafe. He's big, burly, pero ang bilis ng first step niya. And he can guard faster players. I do remember he was guarding Jeron Teng yung pang Salasal. And Jeron Teng cannot outmuscle Ryan Buenafe dahil mas maraming mass si Ryan Buenafe.
And he was pinaka-complete na nakita ko, Ryan Buenafe. Yung size, yung skill nandun eh. Tapos, there was one season na siya ata yung second din assist sa Ateneo. Nandun pa si Salamat tsaka si Monfort nun, pero siya yung second nun. Kasi matalino siya, the skill is there. Yung shooting wala masyado, pero when it counts, he makes it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Tama.
Okay. Apo, you're next.
Okay, next pick. Gusto ko ng big. So, I'll get Ange Kwame.
Bad trip. Yun na yung next ko eh. Bad trip.
One thing with Kwame.
Ginagawa mo yung championship team eh.
Hindi ba? Nagkataon lang. Pero sobrang sakit ng ulo namin dito kay Kwame. Kasi this was after Ben. Di ba? So, sayang. Pero yung kay Kwame, wala talaga kaming magawa eh. Tapos during that time, our best player was si Baltazar. Si Balti was really good versus 6 other teams. Pagdating sa Ateneo, si Kwame na yung babantay. 6'9", 6'10", very long arms, very strong. Wala na kami magawa. Offensively, defensively, si Kwame talaga yung magda-dominate ng game. And also, my first pick 30.
Yeah, that's true. I think sobrang bagay ni Kwame at ni 30, no? Kasi kahit si 30 with Kwame on the lineup, I think 30 can go 4, pwede siyang mag-3, pwede siyang mag-2. Like, okay lang eh, kahit undersized siya as a 4. Kasi, Kwame's there. Alam mo yun? So, it's a good pick. Bagay na bagay silang dalawa.
Nakakainis ka, Apo. Nakakainis ka. Si Ange dapat yung next kung kukunin.
Same.
Diba? I don't think we've ever seen someone to the defensive level as Ange Kwame in the UAAP. Like what I said already in previous episodes, there have been multiple instances where I've seen Ange Kwame defend guards that are below 6 feet who are supposed to be way faster than him.
Yeah, walang mismatch kay Kwame.
Can't shake Ange Kwame. He's just so fast. And I do remember the first time I saw Ange Kwame was in a Phil Oil game against UST sa Phil Oil Flying V Arena. And when I first saw him play, sinabi ko kaagad sa mga kaibigan ko, mukhang mag-back-to-back tayo pare ah. It was right after nagsabi with Ike. Yeah. Tapos same team. Tapos nakita ko si Ange Kwame ko. Back-to-back, mukhang 3-peat tayo pare, 3-peat.
Can I just add siguro to close? I think offensively, ang pinaka-versatile or talented na big si Raba. But I think si Ange is the best two-way big that we have. Kasi yun nga, Gab, sinabi mo na, he can defend any position. Tapos, he's no slouch sa offensive end din. Like, he has a soft touch. Most of the time kasi, guys like that, that long, that lanky, sometimes parang defensive lang, hindi offensive. But I think si Ange, though he's not like the go-to guy offensively, parang he has moves and mataas yung shooting percentage niya, I think. Okay, Gab, your turn. Wala na
Okay.
si Ange. So where do you go?
Uh, I'm gonna go with my favorite Ateneo basketball player of all time. Hindi siya logical pick, it's a sentimental pick. Uh, I'm going with an old player, two-time MVP, Rich Alvarez.
Favorite player ko yan.
Legit ba?
Rich
Yun din
Alvarez.
pick ko. Favorite ko din siya sa
Hmm.
team na yun.
At since nakuha ko na siya, ilalabas ko na to.
Wow.
Oh,
Paano kung hindi mo
throwback.
siya na-pick? Paano kung hindi mo siya na-pick?
Wala,
Ano
yung,
Wala,
mangyayari?
di yan
yung
suot.
mag-stay lang dito.
Papagrab niya yan.
Um,
Not really a sentimental pick. Very solid pick, Rich Alvarez.
Agree.
6'4", 6'5". Tapos yung, grabe yung defense niya. I mean, looking back, sobrang versatile.
Yes.
I
One of my most favorite things about Rich Alvarez and one of the most mind-blowing things that I've ever seen Rich Alvarez do. If you remember, or if anybody were coached in the early 2000s of basketball, you know that coaches didn't like switching. 'Di ba? Yung Golden State Warriors na lang yung nagpauso ng switching eh. Back then, if you were playing basketball as mag-switch ka, sure sisigawan ka ng coach. Bakit ka nag-switch? Because they hated switching. Ayaw nila na may big man na nagbabantay sa guard or guard na nagbabantay sa big man. Ayaw nila yun. Pero one of the most mind-blowing things I saw was in 2001 as well as in 2002, si Rich Alvarez yung pinapabantay kay Mike Cortez. I don't know if you remember that. Pero
Yeah, he
Joel
was.
Banal and Jolie pa would put Rich Alvarez and pressure Mike Cortez with the ball, full court with Rich Alvarez. So my mind was blown. 6'4", 6'5" guy na kayang bumantay kay Mike Cortez. Rich Alvarez. Two-time MVP.
yeah,
Kaya ako naka-end
wanna-
once dati, Gab.
Naka-end one ba
Naka-end
siya?
once
Ay,
ako.
oo, yeah.
Oo. Isa sa mga athletes na nag-endorse si Mike Cortez ng end once. Suot niya yung Kevin Garnett na end once. Dahil kay Rich Alvarez.
Oo.
Actually, kaya, just a fun fact, kaya rin siya naging two-time MVP kasi dapat naman talaga si Rico Villanueva yung MVP but every year may sinasapak siya. So supposedly talaga, so sa totoo lang talaga, I think he should have gotten one yata or probably even none because si Rico Villanueva may 1 game suspension. Yung rule kasi if you get suspended, automatically you're out
Bawal
of the
na.
MVP race.
And I think he didn't score a lot, si Rich Alvarez. You know, for those who don't
All
know, he
around.
didn't really score a lot. Oh, he got a lot of rebounds. Yun yung trademark ni Rich Alvarez. He was a beast on the boards. And he was the one who started dunking a lot nung time na yun. I mean, a
Uber
lot
athletic din.
back then, yung mga matatangkad na sa UAAP, mga 6'5", 6'6", at di naman masyadong nakakadunk. So Rich Alvarez talaga yung one of the first players in the UAAP that was consistently dunking. Well, consistently meaning mga once per game na yung nakakadunk siya. And I would say that if he were playing today in Tab Baldwin's system, I think he's the perfect power forward for Tab Baldwin. You know, a guy who's very switchable, can dribble, can play mid, can shoot a lot.
Yeah.
People forget that Rich Alvarez can shoot.
Yeah, correct.
And he can rebound the hell out of the ball. So, a player for every age, Rich Alvarez.
Tama. So, kung si Raba ganun, lalo na si Rich, no? Okay, sige. Good pick, Gab. Okay, ako ang next 2 picks. So, medyo mahirap na for me. Not sure where I'm gonna
Mahirap.
go with this one. Ang dami. Mahirap. Ibig sabihin, hindi ako makapili. Hindi ako makapili kung sino gusto ko piliin. Okay. Honestly, legit mahirap talaga, guys. Pero sige. Since nakuha na yung dalawang bigs talaga na gusto ko, I'm gonna get a big bago ako maubusan. And I think, impact wise, I'm gonna get the big na won 2 championships. Was the fellow rookie of Kiefer Ravena nung time na yon. I'm gonna go with Greg Slaughter. This guy, super dominant niya nung college days niya kasi 7-footer to eh. Walang makasupalpal sa kanya. As soon as mukha niya yung bola sa loob, sure ball. Easy. And may decent mid-range shot siya. Not as agile as Kwame, pero, he was still a dominant center during his time in the UAAP. I'm building the Ginebra team, by the way, guys. LA Tenorio and Sorry, Mau, go ahead. You were saying something.
Sa akin, to me, yung 4th at 5th championship ng Ateneo nung Norman Black era was an understatement as sabihin na madaya na talaga.
Madaya.
Kasi isipin mo, coming from a team na nag-champion pa rin ng 3rd year, you add 2 of the best players na pwede mong i-add sa college basketball, which is Turdy and Greg Slaughter sabay. Kiefer Ravena and Greg Slaughter sabay. So I think it's a mystery to me kung paano hindi nag-sweep yung team na yon versus yung team nila 30 na nag-sweep. Meron lang talagang random games. I think once UP, once Adamson na natalo yung team na to. But yeah, Greg Slaughter, UAAP 7-footer, paano mo talaga titigilin? Skilled big man.
Tama yung cheat code talaga eh. Cheat code. 7-footer. During that time, tallest guys was him, Christian Senchu from FEU, which was non-playable. Walang kwenta yun. And then si Manyara from Adamson.
Austin Manyara,
yeah. Very good defensively. Pero wala talaga yung tipong Greg Slaughter na literally poste. Walang uusog dun eh.
He made Karim Abdul look small.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Yeah, yung finals, walang magawa si Karim talaga eh.
Tama.
Diba? So, and at first I thought, I didn't know much about Greg Slaughter's game before he came to Ateneo. I just know he was big. I just knew he was big. I didn't know nga, Sam, na sobrang soft pala no touch ni Greg Slaughter from mid-range and even yung in the paint. He had such a soft touch. I didn't know he had that skill eh. I just thought he would be a big 7-footer, pasa mo lang sa loob, walang makakaabot sa kanya, siya na agad yung makaka-shoot. So, and kudos to him. Yung rumors, again, well, actually hindi rumor, naging classmate ko siya. He's actually a decent, smart guy. He's actually a very smart guy. So he wasn't, some of the other recruits
he wasn't slacking off.
He wasn't slacking off. I can personally vouch for that because he was my classmate. So I can personally vouch that Greg Slaughter is a pretty intellectual guy.
Okay, sige, Gab, jumping off of that topic. Speaking of smart guys, ito na yung next pick ko. My next pick is forever idolin ng mga tao kasi pogi, magaling mag-basketball and ME ba? ME tsaka AMF ba? AMF o ME or whatever. Basta one of those AMF, one of those difficult courses, no? So lahat ng tao, they think he's the perfect guy, So my next pick is none other than Chris Chu.
Kainis ka.
Deceivingly good guy looking, pero kung tignan mo yung videos na yung UAAP ini-interview yung mga UAAP players from before, ng Studio 23. I think they had a show 2 years ago.
Napanood ko yun.
Lahat sinasabi, lalo na yun, sila kasi Mirza, pati yung mga FEU players, pinakamagulang daw na player sa UAAP. You wouldn't think.
Nangahawak ng shirt, mga ganun daw eh. No?
Very heady kasi si Chris
Right.
Chu. Na mapakita niya yung talino niya even playing.
Yeah.
Galing.
And he looks so innocent.
Yeah. Watching him play, kasi hanggang sa rain or shine, bihira to mag left-hand layup As wala halos left-hand layup, pero nadadala niya ng the three-point shooting, yung smarts. Yeah, kinakaya eh.
Yeah. And it's a test. I wouldn't actually call him magulang. I would actually call him downright dirty at times. I do remember a feature that yung show ni Bo Belga, he was interviewed as he was asked, sino sa mga rain or shine teammates mo yung mas madumi sa'yo or mas madumi yung maglaro sa'yo? Because si Bo Belga, ano naman natin, madumi maglaro. And he really said, si Chris, mas madumi pa yun maglaro sa akin. Diba? And that's a testament. Si Bo Belga
eh, no?
Na si Chris Chu mas madumi sa kanya. Hindi na siya nahuhuli dahil siguro yung mga ref, yung blinded by his
iba yung branding eh.
Charming look.
Iba yung branding ng Chris Chu. Kaya rin nagustuhan siya ni Heng Giao, di ba? Kasi si Heng Giao, very hard-nosed coach. You'd be surprised. Player like Chris Chu.
Right. Okay, Gab. I think gusto mo sana si Chris Chu, pero wala na si Chris.
Yes,
so, where are you going?
So ngayon, ako naman yung kailangan kumuha ng big, yung bago mawala yung mga bigs. So, for this pick, he only spent short time in Ateneo before transferring to the United States. Hindi ko papakumpleto yung Hinebra para sa'yo, Sammy. Akin na si Japeth Aguilar.
Wow, okay. Nasa ano ko siya sa bench ko siya Doon ko siya ipipick sana Hindi ko in-expect he would go high kasi nga sandali lang siya sa Ateneo.
1 year ba?
Hindi, I think 2 years.
Pero it was still a 6'10" athletic guy. Is Japeth pa rin yun eh.
Na parang dunks lang ata yung ginagawa niya nung time na yun.
Dunks lang ginagawa yung time na yun. But same with Ryan Buenafe, Kiefer Buena. There was a lot of excitement when Ateneo announced that they had successfully secured the commitment of Japeth Aguilar to go to Ateneo. Because it's during those days rare ang Filipino na 6'10". Hanggang ngayon pa rin naman rare ang Filipino na 6'10".
Na athletic.
Rare. Na athletic. Na marunong maglaro ng basketball. Pretty rare at nung early 2000s. So, Japeth Aguilar was a unicorn. Talagang unicorn siya. And he wasn't a slouch either in his 2 years playing for Ateneo. He had a lot of good moments. His length was really good. And yung high-flying dunks. He didn't get that many minutes, syempre, because, first 2 years, he was pretty skinny also. But, made a pretty good career out of himself after he came back. So, Japeth Aguilar. Hinebra. Woo! Hinebra, PBA! Tangina nyo!
Gago. I think isa sa mga biggest what-ifs ng Ateneo is Japeth and Raba playing during their peak. No? Like, isa yun sa mga biggest what-ifs. But yeah, anyway, didn't happen. Apo.
Okay. Next for me, if I got Kwame, very defensive guy. Gusto ko rin ng someone who can score na big man din. So, I'll get Enrico.
Laki ng lineup mo. Laki, grabe.
Bardagulan lineup eh.
30 Villanueva tapos Kwame. Grabe. Ano, sapakan ba to? Or...
Ako, to be honest, kung hindi ko pinili si Raba, I seriously considered Rico Villanueva.
Raging Bull.
Transcendent kasi si Rico Villanueva eh.
Yes.
The program ng Ateneo was really trash. Trash is an
Yes.
understatement ng 90s. Talagang matagal nagka-period na talagang wala yung Ateneo. And the good thing about Enrico is true blue Atenean talaga. So kita mo talaga nung college days na he was very passionate, tsaka dominant also. Kumbaga kung si Rob Alosini average 2010, I think Enrico Villanueva yung MVP, yung final year niya na hindi siya nanapak. Finally, he won the MVP award, averaging 20 and 10. To be honest,
trivia. Hindi siya nanapak.
to be honest, Enrico Villanueva could have won 3 MVP awards easily.
Yeah,
Yung 2 MVP awards ni I was a bigger Rich Alvarez fan, but without Rico, yung 2000 team ng Ateneo would not have been possible. Baka hindi naging ganito ka-dominant ang Ateneo kung hindi natawid ng Ateneo with Rico nung 2002.
That's so true. Yung just the point you said earlier that the dark ages ended when sina Enrico and Wesley Gonzalez eventually graduated from high school and went to the college ranks, because yung before Jolipa and those guys, Ateneo didn't win shit to UAAP. They were one of the bottom teams talaga, dark ages talaga nun yung of Ateneo basketball. And yung once sina Enrico, Wesley, and supposedly dapat si BJ Manalo or to ascend to the seniors division, there yun na dapat yung golden batch dapat yun eh. It's a storybook ending that it ended in a championship in 2002, because there were a lot of heartbreaks from LaSalle that didn't
4
deliver.
years of heartbreak.
Oh, finally in 2002. He was dominant because I think he was the biggest guy out there, just to be honest. I have the DVDs of that 2002 season, and masabi ko lang, it was easy for Enrico to dominate because there were barely any big men who had the height and the girth to actually play. Siguro yung only player na close kay Enrico was si Carlos Sharma ng LaSalle, di ba? I think it became very famous na in 2001, but sinut down ni Carlos Sharma si Enrico Villanueva nung 2001 finals. But he came back in 2002 and finally won it. He was my second favorite player, by the way.
Actually, Gab, when you sent yung link nung Go Ateneo sa YouTube, I watched yung games, yung early 2000 games. You'd be surprised pag manood ka ng games ng Ateneo nung si Rico Villanueva talaga yung centerpiece nung lineup.
Yes.
Literal, every play they were looking to post them up. That was considering that they had a team na parang 10 players na naka-PBA with sila LA Tenorio,
LA Rich,
even si Rainer Season, sila Rich Alvarez, and the wings. Yung
Wesley.
wings, sila Jack Chia, Wesley, and Fonacier. And the play of Ateneo was very basic. Give the ball to Rico, tapos work around him. Diba?
Yun lang talaga yung play nila. Kasi he was just the biggest guy. The raging bull talaga. Kasi sobrang laki niyang tao. And I loved watching him play, except yung sabi mo, Maui, except yung times na nanununtok siya. Nakakainis.
Saka
Pero
feud niya with Joseph Yo. Actually, a fun fact also, nung yung 2002 team ng Ateneo, they started the season, I think, 4-5. So they were potentially not going to make it to the Final Four. And then they won 5 straight games, including yung 13-0 game versus LaSalle. That was a testament to me, yung early 2000 was really golden age ng UAP, just because yung balance ng power in terms of all the schools were very competitive. Compared to now na parang in a season, meron ka na talagang favorites na 2 or 3 teams.
That's true.
That's true.
Good point, Maui.
Maui, ikaw na. Back-to-back picks.
Back-to-back picks. So, si Apo started now with the 2002 team. For my next 2 picks, I'm going for 2 of my favorite players also dun sa 2002 team. They were co-MVPs nung finals, nung UAAP finals. To me, both of them are one of the most underrated Ateneo players. It sucks na lalo na si Larry Fonasher. Yung first pick ko, si Larry Fonasher, nung finally he was given the reins to lead Ateneo nung senior year niya. Ateneo was 6-0 and he tore his ACL.
ACL. Yeah.
And yeah. And then yung next pick ko,
It was 7-0.
Yeah, 6 or
7-0 yun,
7-0,
Mau.
parang ganun.
Against
Tapos,
UP, no?
Against UP, parang pa-halftime na yun. Pa-halftime
Yeah,
na
yeah,
injury si Larry
Naalala
Fonasher.
ko yan.
To me,
Okay.
yun yung pinakawawa doon. Arguably, baka si Sandy Arispacochaga rin kawawa because yun yung chance niya talaga to showcase himself. Tapos na-squander with the unfortunate injury of Fonasher. Yung next pick ko, also one of the most hated players ng Ateneo, with the nickname Wild Wild West. So I'm going with Larry Fonasher and Wesley Gonzalez as my back-to-back picks. As you remember sa previous drafts namin, I valued yung wing players and these two guys could play in any era, in my opinion.
Yeah, agree. Actually, for me, Larry Fonasher was like the top on my list on my remaining list before you picked him. Tapos, if si Gab meron siyang jersey ni Rich Alvarez, though Rich was parang pinaka-idol ko, I had a jersey of Wesley Gonzalez. Kasi for me, he was so versatile at that time. Yon yung versatility niya. And, alam mo yung pinaka-gusto ko sa kanya, sobrang confident and gago niyang tao. Na, like, he's like this pesky defender, tapos he would really get into your head. And I really love that about Wesley Gonzalez. Fun fact lang, no? Taga dito si Wesley taga dito si Wesley Gonzalez sa village. Yung Wesley Gonzalez jersey ko pang bahay ko yun minsan. Tapos parang isang beses nasa labas ako, tapos nakita ko siya, takbo ko sa loob, nagtago ako kasi papasok kasi sa jersey.
Taga dito siya Sam sa LGV.
Nakita ko siya naglalakad. I think. No.
Yung picks mo sa Maui kasi I was gonna say sobrang polar opposites in terms of personality ni Larry sa ni Wesley Gonzalez.
Yes.
Si Larry, if I diba, he was
Babyface assassin.
Babyface assassin. Oo. Kasi he doesn't trash talk, he doesn't show much emotion yung on the court, just goes about his business and lets his game do the talking. Si Wesley does a lot of talking. Literally does a lot of talking. Diba? If you remember, I don't know if Apo remembers yung 2002 finals when Larry Fonasher blocked Mac Cardona to win game 1 of the UAAP finals. Hindi nakita, but nakita ko.
Nakita.
Gonzalez went to Mac Cardona, shouted in his face while lying down and pointed at him lying down. Wesley Gonzalez is an in-your-face player. He's not shy to talk trash, to get in your face. Hindi lang siya nananapak, pero nakikipag-away siya in other ways. Good pick, wow. Yung polar opposites. I do remember that. He shouted in Mac Cardona's face. That's funny.
Yeah, sorry, just to end, two things. I think perfect yung description mo, Mau, for both of them. I agree. I think both of them are the most underrated Ateneo players ever. Like super, kahit na gaano ka galing sila, like I feel like they're super underrated pa rin. Second thing, fun fact about Wesley Gonzalez. Nung sa PE namin, meron kami yung standing long jump. Tapos parang ang record holder nung time na yun si Wesley Gonzalez nung high school kami. Ang tagal na niyang high school, di ba? So, just goes to show how athletic and long he was kahit nung high school pa. Apo, ikaw na ulit.
Okay. Since sabi niya malaki yung players ko, I need a small guy. I'll get SJ Belangel.
Okay.
Kasi solid. Isa to sa mga ayoko rin kasi sure ball to eh. developed to a really, really good three-point shooter. Inis na inis ako dito kasi mukha pa rin siyang high school. Parang ang dali niya awayin. Pero wala, tahimik ka na lang pag tuloy-tuloy na yung interest niya.
Gab yan, may rumor din yan like Buena Fe. Well, it's not a rumor, it's a given fact. Si SJ Belangel scored I think 90 points nung nasa Bacolod pa siya.
Yeah.
Doon talaga siya na,
When he was
na
in
ano,
Bacolod.
nagsimula nagka-hype kay SJ Belangel.
And one of my fondest memories of SJ was when he was a freshman in high school. His teacher, his moderator, Sam, was a good friend, si MJ, God rest his soul. And MJ was telling me in one of our lunch outs together na he has a student na sinasabi niya is gonna be the future of Philippine basketball. Back in first year high school, sabi niya, Gab, may student ako, sobrang galing maglaro. Future Philippine basketball. And that guy was SJ Belangel. And lo and behold, he's now the present of Philippine basketball. He had an LA Tenorio-like game against UP in Game 3 in the previous season. Scored 27 points. Was literally the only player doing anything good for Ateneo in Game 3. Siya lang talaga yung bumubuhay sa Ateneo no Game 3 against UP. And sad to see him go play in Korea. But I'm happy for him.
Well deserved.
This guy worked his ass off. And you said Apple that he's such a good shooter. He wasn't always a good shooter.
Yeah, hindi.
I think we brought this up many times, Sam. Nung freshman year ni SJ Belangel, we hated him. We hated seeing him on the court. So, nagpapanik siya at makita mo talaga na he wasn't really confident. Sure turnover siya every time.
Yeah, sure
I think,
turnover siya. Yeah.
One of the first instances din kasi Gab na napalaro talaga sa UAAP si SJ Belangel no rookie season niya was I remember it vividly. One of the first games noon was against Adamson. So, first pagpasok pa lang niya nakatikim na siya ng pumarin press. So parang nag-turnover siya I think 2 times agad nung time na yun. So nabulaga siya nung nakita niya yung level of defense ng college versus the high school level.
Right. Agree. Like, sayang lang, but happy for SJ na he's going to Korea. Gab, you're next.
All right, for my pick, since Maui didn't pick him, I thought Maui was sure. I didn't have him on my list kasi sabi ko, sure, Maui's gonna pick this guy. He already said in a previous episode that this guy was his favorite player. So I'm picking the Rocket, JC Ental. Again, he was a unicorn back in the early 2000s because you just didn't see wings who were 6'4", who could fly like JC Ental. And he didn't only dunk the ball or had these acrobatic moves in there. He was also a decent post-up player. He had a decent mid-range jump shot. He was a total package talaga. He wasn't as consistent from three-point range back then, but JC was an unstoppable force, especially in his latter years in Ateneo. If you would go back and watch videos of JC Ental, sobrang complete offensive arsenal talaga. And just add his elite na athleticism. You have one of the best wings I've ever seen play in the UAE.
To me, Gab, yung sorry,
Go,
Sam, go ahead.
Go. No, go Maui.
To me, Gab, actually, as an Ateneo fanatic, one of the most heartbreaking talaga is yung final year ni JC Ental, which I really think they should have won. Pero talagang may ano talaga faith talaga yung UST team na yon. But JC Ental was super dominant nung season na yon. I would argue na parang he's one of the most dominant players din sa millennia age ng UAAP. Talagang star player and to me sayang din na well he had a long PBA career but to me it could have been kung ngayon siya without a doubt, tingin ko talaga na pirate siya somewhere. Probably also in Japan or in
Yes.
Korea.
Yes,
Kasi
definitely.
ahead of his time talaga, ahead of his time yung laro na, and yung mention kanina Gabi, yung athleticism and height niya. First position.
Yeah. He had this move. I was watching some old Ateneo games where he would post up. Tapos yung mga baseline fadeaway jump shots niya, sobrang consistent. I don't know if he learned that from Kobe or Jordan, from watching those dudes, but that was basically unblockable because guarding him were smaller players. Remember, he was 6'4" and he was so long. A complete offensive arsenal. A dream wing, if I would ever call someone. Siguro si 30 lang siguro yung only wing na makatalo in terms of sheer athleticism sa kanya. But JC and Tal, yeah, tama ka, way ahead of his time. A dream wing to have on your team. Sammy.
Okay. Next
to back.
pick, back to back ako. Not sure if if medyo reach, but I don't think so. But I really love these two players. Siguro first muna, yung una kong pick. Let's say ano na lang, switch any naman sila, but actually gonna pick someone recent, Gian Mamuya, si Mamu. Super love, what can I say about Mamu, 'di ba? Like lagi na natin siya pinapag-usapan sa podcast. He came in as this uber long defensive guy, and gustong-gusto ko na siya noon kasi he always gives effort. So he found a way to get into the rotation, pero sobrang like evolve yung game din niya na he had a consistent 3-point shot, and then he would make plays, drive to the basket, uh go off screens, take mid-range jumpers, ganun. So I think he evolved his game, lalo na itong last year niya. Syempre sayang hindi lang nag-champion, but I think really, if there was one player that we would really miss more this year, more than SJ, kasi si Fortsky dadating, di ba? But more than SJ, I feel like si Mamu yung pinaka-miss natin, yung defensive versatility niya and yung leadership. So that's my next pick. And then after him, I'm gonna pick a fellow teammate from the current team. The first player that I'm going to pick na hindi pa nagcha-champion. I'm gonna go with Dave Ildefonso. So if si Gian is more defensive, I think Dave is the more offensively versatile player. So yun, Gian and Dave for me.
Ang pogi ng
Gab.
team mo, Sama.
Siyempre, kailangan.
Chris
Ang
Chu?
marketing
Dave
yun eh.
Ildefonso?
Branding yun eh.
Yung mga papi ng PBA, yung mga papi ng UAAP yung pinipick mo.
Siyempre, importante yun eh. Factor din yun.
But yung out of the two, I think my favorite pick of yours, Sam, was Gian Mamuya. He was actually supposedly one of my next few picks, but in my head I was thinking Sam's gonna pick him somewhere. But yeah, I would think to other teams that Gian Mamuya could be very annoying. If I were to compare him to one player, I would compare him actually to Kib Montalvo from LaSalle. Kasi, alam mo yun, yung defensive guy that loves to complain, and Gian Mamuya loves to complain. Diba? Nagko-complain siya palagi sa ref, yung every time mag-swipe siya, fouled out, tapos sabihin niya, uy, wala. Pero, pare, obvious naman, yung foul naman. Pero, but, yeah, I would think that other fans of other schools would find Gian very annoying.
Let's
He was
ask
so
Apo.
defense.
Let's ask Apo.
Let's ask Apo.
Tama naman yung kasi nga, annoyed kayo kay Kib. Annoyed kami kay Gian. Yung haba ng galamay niya eh. Tapos, especially in this era of guards doing crossing over, ang madalas yung napipick niya yung pocket ng point guard, ng opposing point guards. That's Gian.
Yeah. And he had this habit of reaching from behind. Yun yung, I think, mark defensive move niya. He would try to block off the offensive player from the spot, then iiwasan niya, then he will reach from
Yeah.
behind
Yun na nga
just
yung
to tap
galamay.
and create a turnover. Yung secret moves niya eh. Yung palagi ko na nakita yun eh. He did it yung most recently kay Kagulangan uh, nung finals. Just reaching
Finals,
from
yeah.
behind talaga.
Yeah. Okay.
Trademark mo.
Sorry. Ano pala, no? Hindi tayo nag-recap. So, medyo na-miss natin yung recap. Pero, just to share, no? Sumobra na ako ng isang player. Pero just to recap, ako, I have Tenorio, Slaughter, Chu, Mamuyak, and Ildefonso. Si Gab, meron siyang Kiefer, Rich Alvarez, Japet, JC Intal. Super athletic lineup, by the way. Apo, 3D, Ange, Enrico Villanueva, and SJ Belangel. And then si Maui, si Raba, si Buenafe, si Larry, tsaka si Wesley. I think si Maui ngayon is in the running for the most annoying team so far.
Grabe, Buenafe, tsaka Gonzalez.
Oo. Tapos
Kahit
Wesley
may,
Gon pa.
kahit may Larry Fournier na neutralizer eh, no? Talagang
Wala eh. Sige,
Pinansin
Gab.
mo yun, magkakampi si Wesley Gonzalez sa si Ryan Buenafe. Nago,
Plus
technical foul
Raba.
galore.
Raba.
Plus Raba.
Grabe.
Away yan, away.
Roll na yan.
kung hindi lang ni Apo kinuha si Rico, away na talaga.
Oo nga eh. Actually, Apo kasi. Ba't mo kinuha, Apo?
Tuntukan lineup na eh.
Alright. For my pick, I'm gonna go with I believe to be the steadiest point guard, second to Eli Tenorio in Ateneo history, and I think another very, very, very underrated player, Matt Nieto.
Next pick ko sana yun. Pero
I
Gabi,
think
I agree.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gab.
I was gonna say, sa akin, Matt Nieto was by far the highest rank. Kasi may list ako of players. So, parang sinama mo, to be honest, like, a lot lower than Matt. Pero nakuha na kasi yung other players. But I didn't need the point guard since I had LA. So, definitely, like, I think he deserves to be higher, honestly, like si Matt Nieto. Tama ka, Gab. Next to LA, I guess, ito na yung steadiest. And there were so many moments na may mga clutch moments itong si Matt na game-winning free throws, game-tying shots. He just made them all. Like, walang like, you can trust this guy.
Sa kanya binibigay ng Ateneo pag clutch.
Yeah.
Isipin mo with 30 Ravenna.
I used to call him when he was playing for Ateneo. I used to call him the one-man press break. Kasi honestly, you can't press the guy. He was so good at breaking presses. I do remember nung we talked about him no previous episode, yung draft sa Adamson. Diba si Jerry Pingoy was initially starting nung rookie year ni Matt Nieto. Then eventually, si Jerry Pingoy could not handle any press you given to him. Pero Matt Nieto could just break the press by himself. He was so good at handling the ball. He was such a steady player and eventually took over the starting point guard position from Jerry Pingoy because he was so good. And underrated yung game niya on the defensive end. He was a pretty good defender. And yung tama ka, Mau, in Tab Baldwin system, di ba, we always go with ball rotation, a lot of all-ball movement. But there's always a couple of guys palagi sa team si Tab Baldwin. If everything does not work, ibigay mo lang yung bola sa kanila. And that was Kiefer, 30 and Matt Nieto. Yung emergency, gumawa ka lang na kahit ano yung gusto mo and create offense for us. And Matt Nieto was that guy, especially in the last few years. The last two championships nung three-peat.
Okay, Apo.
Okay, so fifth guy to complete my lineup, starting lineup. Actually, medyo disappointing na nag-end up siya with kay Boleros. Feeling ko medyo nasayang niya yung talent. So, I'll go with Chris Newsome.
Sabi ko na nga ba eh. Pero tama ka dyan.
Yeah, medyo nasayangan talaga ako dun. Kasi pagdating niya ng PBA, di ba, ginawa siyang point guard ni Coach Norman. Tapos, yun na, yun na yung real talent niya na hindi nakita ni Coach Bo.
Pero sa akin lang yung comment ko, to be fair, if I remember correctly, like nung first year or first 2 years I think first year ni Newsam, sobrang butterfingers niya nun eh. So, I remember super, din siya, hype nung time na yun. Pero medyo hindi pa ganun kaano yung ball handling skills niya. Versus where he is now, obviously.
He had a
I think
sure ball mid-range shot. Yun lang naalala ko kay Chris Newsom. His mid-range shot was so sure. Siguro yung only competition niya sa mid-range shot si Nico Salva. Sila dalawa, you give him the ball sa free throw line, extended. Mid-range shot, bucket. Book it. Alam mo ng pasok.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
Apo, you were saying something? Si Maui.
No, I was gonna add.
Go.
Actually, maraming galit kay Bo Perasol. Let's be clear about that, especially nung time niya with Ateneo. But to me, ako kasi hindi ako isa sa mga yun. Yung ano kasi, yung pressure coming from a 5-peat team. And imagine that 5-peat team, yung core players niyan all graduated almost at the same time. I would say na hindi naman ganoon ka disappointing. Siguro a bit disappointing na hindi naka-final for Ateneo nung last year. I think last year niya. But Chris Newsom was a mythical team member nung 2014 if I'm not mistaken. And Ateneo was also the number 1 seed. It just so happens na talagang yung NU team nung time na yon, it was a bunch of players na sila. Troy Rosario, Jello Olino, Aroga, I think, yung big man. Talagang nag-peak lang in the right time. And it's arguable. They won the championship even against the number 2 seed yung FEU nung time na yon. So to me, parang Chris Newsom nung time, mahirap lang talaga nung time na yun kasi to me, medyo magka-position sila ni Kiefer. And then you have Pesomal also playing the 2.
Yeah.
So Newsom and both Buenafé had to play yung 3 at 4 position. So parang medyo off position. But yeah, I agree with Apo. Sayang yung stint niya with Ateneo. Hindi siya ganoon ka memorable given his talent na kitang-kita naman when he entered the PBA.
Tsaka nawala ng kuryente yung game na yun versus NU, if you remember.
Yeah, tama. Naalala ko yun.
Tapos,
Tama.
nung last possession kay Kiefer, feeling ko, he got cold na yun eh. Sayang yan.
That's true.
Tama, nawalan ng kuryente nga yun.
Ngayon ko lang naalala. Buti
ni Apo.
Naalala ko, tama. Yeah,
Okay. Maui. Back-to-back picks.
Sino na ba players? Puro wings. For my next pick, I'm picking... Puro wings?
Surprise ka na puro wings?
Siraba lang. For my next pick, I'll be picking yung, to me also, another player na very, very loved by the Ateneo community. To me, without him, Raba probably wouldn't have been at least also like when Buenafé entered. One of the most humble guys you see, unless kung si May Hofer yung katapat. I'm going for Nonoy Baclao.
Yes, super humble guy.
Humble pero iba-block yung bola sa mukha mo.
To me siguro outside Kwame si Baclao ang most dominant defensive player ng Ateneo nitong millennial. Second to Kwame, of course.
I was gonna say na if I didn't get Rich Alvarez or someone would pick Rich Alvarez ahead of me, I would have picked Nonoy Baclao because in terms of ranking the power forwards to ever play for Ateneo, I think Rich Alvarez is obviously number 1, but Nonoy Baclao is a close number 2 behind him. Because yung nga sabi mo, Maui, defensive force talaga si Nonoy Baclao. Sobrang defensive force. And one of my favorite memories was Coach Norman Black in the huddle and shooing away Ford Araw and said, "No, not you, Noy." Nonoy Baclao to come in the game because he knows Nonoy Baclao is a way better defensive player than Ford Araw. Oh yeah, Nonoy Baclao. I love this guy. Tama ka, sobrang humble. Unless you ask Rico Meyerhofer. Probably the only time I saw Nonoy Baclao show any sort of emotion on the court was against Rico Meyerhofer. But yeah, I love Nonoy Baclao. Sad na he only played like what 2-3 years in Ateneo. Was discovered pretty late if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Pero champion
Um,
both years.
yeah.
Yes, champion.
I think ano din, sobrang perfect complement to Raba, no?
Yes.
Yung defense niya to Raba's
Mm-mm.
offense. Um,
And the
Maui?
coach,
So
he
ulit.
made it
And
work.
the coach, yes.
Yung next pick ko, another wing player, also from the 5P team, very consistently leading the Ateneo in scoring. You would be surprised, magugulat ka na lang pag tingin mo ng box score. Nasa 20 points siya or even had games na 30. Very simple game, puro ang baskets niya puro sa right wing or sa pocket area, free throw line. Puro pick and pop, but he developed his game into being more of a wing player and a guard nung naging pro player. Going for Nico Salva.
Yes, sure ball mid-range. You're
Ito
correct,
yung
Maui.
grabe mid-range talaga.
Yes.
Oo,
So,
mid-range all the
kung may
way.
definition ng kung paano mag-finish, si Salva yun eh. As in, he had everything. Right, left hand, floater, both hands. Tas athletic. As in, I think he had one game na 10 of 10 siya versus UST nung finals.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He did.
Sobrang accurate.
Game 1 yan.
Memory mo, apo.
Kasi nanonood ako live nun. Nagasin sila ni Mariano going toe-to-toe. Pero si Salva, as in, sobrang simple lang ng ginagawa. Pero sobrang effective niya, 10 of 10.
Yeah.
Mr. 5 feet, one of the players
Yes,
na
5 feet.
5 feet talaga.
Him and Tonino, I think. And
Justin
Justin
Chua.
Chua. Justin Chua.
Justin Chua. Oh, yeah, yun. The
Apo.
5 years in a school, 5 championships.
Grabe. Apo next.
Yeah, actually, si Salva dapat yung next kong kukunin. So, now he's out. Isa sa mga favorite Ateneo players ko, baka too early to pick him. Pero I love his game kasi humble. Tapos grabe yung defense ito. Kirk Long.
Humble talaga yung gusto niya. Na yung, ayaw niya
Isip ko rin
mamamaya.
yan. Si Kirk Long.
Kirk Long. The glue
I
guy.
think it's not a reach.
From the 5.
Go ahead.
Yeah, feeling ko siya yung glue guy from that 5P team. Kasi kung anong kailangan ni Coach Norman, yun siya. Top defensive sa perimeter si Kirk Long noon. And then he could pass. That corner 3-point shot is accurate. Yun siya yun. I think they also had this play na he would come off Greg Slaughter's screen. Tapos sure dunk na yun eh.
Yes. So, pretty capable defender as well, Kirk Long. Sam, yung nakuha yung dalawang pogi.
Oo
Galing
nga
sa'yo.
eh. Actually,
Kasi
sila yung
Nico
dalawang
Salva.
next ko eh. Silang dalawa yung next ko eh. Pero, just to comment, legit silang dalawa yung next ko. Pero just to comment on Kirk Long din, I think yung okay din sa kanya, na-develop niya yung ball handling niya. Remember, isa din to sa mga medyo butterfingers when he started out. Hindi talaga siya ball handler. But he developed that later on in his game. And I think that's what made him last longer then, or take his game to the next level. Gab.
I do want to know though. Was he the last player to? Well, was he the last legit blonde player in the UAAP? Or the last legit white boy in the UAAP?
Baka
Parang wala pa kayo nakita na white boy.
Played
Diba?
double event din siya. Baka hindi alam na iba. He was also playing baseball.
Yes.
Yeah, baseball.
Although I
Actually-
do have a story for that. Pero sige.
Actually, just to add about Kirk Long, nung recruit siya, super scorer yan nung high school. And you wouldn't think galing Fate Academy pa yon. I think sa mga pocket tournament siya nakita. But you wouldn't think na ganun siya, na star player, because of how selfless he was and how he gave court as Apo mentioned, Coach Norman, anything and everything that he needed, parang ultimate blue guy talaga nung for Ateneo, si Kirk Long. Walang reklamo.
Yep. I'll save the baseball story for after the pod since we're talking about basketball. I
Okay,
get.
Gab.
Well. Okay, so for my next pick, I'm gonna pick a wing, and you mentioned him earlier, Apo, and he's a good friend of mine, but no bias. I think he's a terrific basketball player. Uh, you could argue probably the best shooter in Ateneo history, Von Pesumal.
Actually, baka the
Okay.
best shooter in
Yeah.
history. As
Um
kahit mintis, diretso eh.
Oh,
actually, ah, Gab, nandun din yun sa all pogi lineup ko eh. Ba't mo kinuha?
of course, of
Um,
course. Well,
I'm just I just wanna say I think if Sinalari and Wesley are underrated, I think Von Pesimol is also underrated.
he's
Medyo
underrated because he played with Kiefer since grade school. He's been playing with
right,
Kiefer, so
right.
he's been overshadowed by Kiefer, by the spotlight being on Kiefer the whole time. But he's a really good player.
And I think
Great.
Maui mentioned it. Nung time kasi nila Kiefer and Von, marami silang same position. I think that's what sort of made it difficult for like someone like Von to really shine or step up, no. Like other than Kiefer, there were other people like sina Newsom din, ganun. So, but I really like this guy's game.
May ano pa yun, Sam, may Elordi at Tuawi Chongson pa yun.
Right,
Kaya
correct,
yun yung
correct.
one of the reasons why I really couldn't fault also si Bo Perasol given the makeup of the lineup. Ang layo nung laro nung positions 1 and 2 na sa 3-4-5 or 1-2-3 nga versus yung big man.
Just a point about Vaughn. We always talk about bigs from high school making the transition to college. I think aside from Matt Nieto, I think he was one of the more successful ones. Just in case people don't know, Von was playing not center. He played center sometimes,
Really?
but he was playing power forward most of the time in high school. Uh, he didn't really shoot the ball that much. Kaya nga to me, yung sobrang nagulat ako na he developed
Develop
such
niya
a
3 niya.
such a great 3-point shot. He became legitimately the best part of his game was his shooting. And that was a shock because he never did it that much in high school and even in grade school because nga he always played inside yung as a big man. So kudos to him, man. Really worked his ass off, and he's continuing to win championships up to now. Though most recently for San Miguel in the PBA, and if I ever were to make a case for someone in the PBA to make it to the national team, I think Von should be in the national team
Yes.
in Gilas because diba, we need shooting.
Legit.
It's an
Tsaka
international game.
legit
Matangkad,
jump shot
mahaba.
ha. As in,
Oo.
yung mga shooters natin, kung hindi totoong jump shot yun eh. Von has real elevation sa jump shot niya.
Yes, and
Pure,
he knows how
pure.
to work off the ball.
Mm.
Yun yung one thing na
Yeah, off the ball.
hindi nakikita kuminsan ng mga coaches sa Gilas or sa PBA. Von is very effective off the ball. Nung time nga ni Bo Perasol, I wasn't as critical early on because a lot of the actions that he was running with Kiefer were to get Von free off the ball. Ang daming screens na were being run for Von Pesumal yung just to get him free because he was a damn good shooter. All right. Sammy.
I don't know. Nasira na yung picks ko eh kasi pinili niyo yung mga si Von talaga yung gusto ko eh. Sige, for my next pick, siguro pipiliin ko yung guy na one of the most memorable and had so many legendary moments in his UAAP career. We didn't really expect much from this guy from the start. Malaki lang siya. Alam ko yun yung nakita ko. Sino yung malaki na yun na Chinese? Pero by the end of his career, became an Ateneo legend instantly. And another super smart guy in the mold of Chris Chu. I'm gonna go for Isaac Go. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm sure there are better, maybe more successful big men left dito sa draft. Pero I was looking at yung mga bigs. Sa akin, like, pinaka-memorable talaga yung mga moments ni Isaac Go. Plus, I love that he can shoot the three, no? So, I like his modern big man game kasi. Apo, are you gonna say something about Isaac Go?
Yeah, Apo.
To this day, lasting memory ko pa rin talaga yung Isaac Gold. Dagger 3, Game 3, Ateneo Lasal. Sobrang sakit nun kasi humahabol pa kami nun eh. Humahabol pa yung Lasal nun. Karakot just made the 3 to cut the game to 2. Tapos may pag-asa eh. We still had Ben. Tapos pick and pop, Isaac Go. He was so open. Kasi nakaganon na ako eh. Nilet go niya eh. Naalala ko yung FEU game. He made it. Parang, yun na. That's it. Sakit.
Sarap. Yung hindi masakit. Sarap.
Hindi ko pa rin pinapanood yung replay hanggang ngayon. Kahit pinapalabas siya. I'll watch the whole game. Tapos pag yung possession na yun, okay, lipat ko na.
Yung parang lang yan sa amin, Apo, yung UST no 2006. Yun yung sa amin, sa Atenista. Yun yung masakit sa amin. Yung matalo sa UST.
Kahit ito, Gab, kahit yung most recent, itong UP.
Oh yeah, masakit.
Itong UP is comparable to that, to the Lasal, ano.
Yung
based on the
masakit.
hype of the team,
Yes.
saka yung 13-0 na ang gulo, ganyan. Malaking comparison talaga. Tapos big shot. Yung difference lang is, ito si Kagulangan sa guard sa Ateneo, si Isaac Go naman na big. Pero just to add, yung I would argue na yung shot ni Isaac Go against Sal was not even the best or the biggest shot nung season na yun. Si Apo mentioned kanina yung 3-pointer against si FEU. If Isaac Go did not make that shot, Ateneo would have been eliminated by FEU. Yung shot, kumbaga
I
yung
was
shot
sure
yun,
we were
kailangan talaga.
lose.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
Sobrang
tsaka yung nakaupo na tira nung overtime.
Down. And to Isaac Go's credit, he was a pretty smart player. He knew how to use his, he wasn't athletic. I think his vertical is like 2 inches at most. He couldn't jump. As someone who has the same vertical, I know, but he couldn't jump. But he knew how to use his size, his positioning. He knew how to box out well, how to pass, and was really, really pretty smart player on the court. Sam, go pa rin.
Iniisip ko kung pipiliin ko for me yung most talented or pipiliin ko yung bagay sa team ko, sa team Pogi. Okay. I'm gonna go for sige na, pipiliin ko na siya. Again, like another player na from the 5P team, earlier days of the 5P team, offense off the bench. Sure offense off the bench to. No fear, not yung video na pinadala mo, Gab, against Adamson. I think medyo rookie year niya yon, if I'm not mistaken. But I think yung first quarter, walang magawa yung Ateneo, naka-mask si Chris Chu, tapos si JC Intal maalat. Tapos pinasok niya the young guys, si Norman Black pinasok niya, si Raba at si Eric Salamat. And instant offense yung dalawa. So for me, memorable tong si Eric Salamat kasi no fear kind of player to eh. Instant offense off the bench din. So I'm gonna go with Eric Salamat as my next pick.
Yan ang hatest player ng non-Ateneo. If meron player na hatest,
Medyo sayang
Eric Salamat
kasi he was so talented. Pero
yeah.
parang nagpipigil o ewan ko kung ano nangyari doon.
Uh, he was a sneaky guy on defense also. I think he led the
Yeah, he
UAP in
let.
steals.
Steals.
Yeah, may
Yeah.
nickname
Off the
siya eh,
bench.
for that.
Off the bench.
So,
Off
Ano
the
nickname
bench,
niya?
yes.
Ano
it's like
nickname
the
niya, Apo?
Sultan of Steals, whatever. Basta parang Sultan eh.
Hindi ko maalala
Yeah,
eh. Meron bala?
kasi ako
Hmm.
naalala niyo. Mga di ko,
Oo, hindi ko maalala yun.
yeah, he was called by, I think Boom Gonzalez coined that term, the Sultan of Steals. Oh,
Yeah.
I do remember him being called that. But yeah, and he was an expert at drawing fouls. Yun yung one thing na alala ko kay Eric Salamat because his outside shot was not really that consistent, pero he could drive. He was a pretty good ball handler and he could snake his way to the paint. Yung ala someone like Manu Ginobili or James
Yeah.
Harden because
Left-handed
well,
pa, no?
Paliwete.
and he knew how to draw fouls a lot. So, and he was pretty consistent from the free throw line. And yung without him, I don't think we would have won that many championships back in the
Agree.
late 2000s.
Oo, tama. Yun. And yun, I think two-way player. Di ba? Tama. He
Yeah, he
can
was.
defend people talaga. That's what I love about Salamat. Like coming off the bench, may two-way player ka na ganun. Sobrang solid nun.
Starter level na si Eric Salamat in any other UAP team.
Dapat yung nasa team mo, Maui. Salamat. Salamat, si Wesley,
Actually,
si Bueno.
nasa next
Yeah.
ko yan. Nasa next ko yan,
Same.
si Salamat. Sa mga favorite players ko yan. Actually, kung alam, a fun fact about Eric Salamat, yung salute niya, supposedly, hindi talaga pang-asar yung salute ni Eric Salamat eh. Apparently, I think, parang he was interviewed by Mikey Reyes ata or by one of the people that also have podcasts. In-explain niya yung salute, parang I think yung dad niya, parang general, retired army or something. Kaya siya gumaganon. It just so happens na na-trademark na parang ano niya, signature asar move niya nung nasa UAAP siya. Nagulat din kasi daw siya dun sa response na nakuha niya nung gumanon siya for the first time.
I love Eric Salamat, but other people probably hate him. All right. I'm next. So I'm looking actually at a big or a point guard because I love those two positions. I think they're pretty important. But I'm gonna go with a big. I'm not sure if this is if this is a reach or if anyone had him on his list of guys to pick. But I
Mike
think he's
Baldos.
criminally underrated. No, hindi si Mike Baldos. Paulo Bugia.
Yeah, Paulo Bugia.
Yes. Bugia.
People forget about him because he wasn't the big man that Enrico Villanueva was. So history lesson for those who don't know. Paulo Bugia was the backup of Enrico, except for the 2002 season where he tore his ACL. He was the backup. And he wasn't a big guy. He was a long player, na finesse guy. But I recently rewatched the 2003 games and 2004 games where Paulo Bugia was there. He was a beast. Sobrang galing niya. Yung game, nung Final Four game na nasuspend si LA Tenorio because he punched Jerwin Gaco, Paulo Bugia was a beast. I think he had like 5 blocks, 18 points, 11 rebounds. Sobrang ang galing niya. And he had this mid-range jump shot that was pretty consistent as well. Not as consistent as sila Nico Salva and Chris Newsom, but he was a guy na could he was a pick and pop player. Yung let's put it like that. He didn't post up a lot because he wasn't the big birdie guy that Enrico was. But he's so underrated because people remember the dominance of Enrico, but they forget that Paulo Bugia was just as good. And I would argue, I think if you put him in today's game, I think Paulo Bugia is a way better option than Enrico Villanueva. Just saying.
Yeah, I think for me, ang naalala ko kay Bugia was like, parang sneaky siya in the sense na magugulat ka na lang na ang dami na 18 points na pala siya or like double digit scoring, double na pala siya or something like that. Like you don't see him he's not like a flashy player kasi. But really solid backup to Villanueva at that time. Apo.
Right.
Okay.
Apo.
And next. Okay. Actually, isa to sa mga believe talaga ako na guys. Kasi I counted him out. Kasi big man siya nung high school. Tapos, hindi talaga nag-work yung first year niya. Tapos, change his weight, change his game. Tapos, sobrang effective na bigla became a really good shooter. Si Big Mike Nieto.
Big Mike. I love Big Mike.
Big Mike.
As in, grabe yung transformation talaga. As in, yun nga, I count, kasi meron ibang players ng high school na feeling ko hindi mag-work sa college eh. He was one of those guys until nagpapayat siya, tas nag-focus siya on being a really good shooter. Yeah, I like this pick.
Yeah,
Natural born
you're
leader.
right. Actually, ako rin, when he was coming out of high school, nung silang dalawa ni Matt were coming out of high school, I was pretty doubtful na Mike Nieto would even make it to the seniors team. Kasi nga, he's a 6'2" center. Diba? No, na big guy, diba? So, medyo mabagal siya. So, I didn't really think na he was gonna work. I thought Matt Nieto would have the better career out of the two of them. But he made it work. Yung kudos to him. He really, grabe yung pinayat niya. So,
Yeah.
idol. Yun, saludo sa kanya. Grabe yung pinayat niya. Total opposite. Siguro yung yung nung tinaba ni Buenafe, yun yung pinayat ni Mike Nieto. yung coming into college.
Yeah, I guess just to end, no? Tama si Maui. I think yung off-court contribution din niya is like his leadership. Like when you talk to this guy, when people interview him, or even if you talk to him, like you can really feel yung aura na like this guy's a leader na parang he'll put the team ahead. So I think that was a big factor then in like yung impact niya sa teams when they won the championship. Maui, last two picks.
Actually ako, Gab,
Go ahead.
Nung napanood ko yung Nieto brothers, at first, just like you, I had the same sentiments na baka unlikely si Mike Nieto mag-translate sa college. Pero nung napanood ko sila, nung naglaro sila ng World Championships, nakalaro niya yung mga 6'10", like Harry Giles, Jason Tatum. The prospects during those time. Yun yung mga nakalaro niya nung naglaro sa World. And he was rebounding. And he was 6'1". Sabi ko, mapuso tong batang to. So, and true enough, he was a very valuable member ng three-peat. Probably the most underrated sa lahat. Which is why he's been part of he's been part of even yung national teams kahit sabihin mo nang limited siya in terms of his height and still transitioning to a point guard, shooting guard role.
And he still crashes the boards. I think yung pa rin yung game niya since college until now in the pros, even in the national team. At 6'2", talagang he rebounds the heck out of the ball. Talagang hindi nawawala yung instincts niya as a center. So, and people criticize him actually. Diba yung mga Filipino fans of Gilas, they criticize, bakit nandyan si Mike Nieto sa Gilas? Di naman siya yung kagaling. But you gotta watch for the intangibles that Mike Nieto brings. And he's a pretty solid glue guy on any team.
Yeah, underrated din talaga. Wanted to have him as my last pick actually. So, good pick, Apo. Good pick. Maui, back-to-back. Last two picks for you.
Last two picks. Yung next pick ko, wala si Idol. Pero hindi. Meron pipick ko yung batchmate natin. Isa sa batchmate natin. Yung lineup ko right now is lacking a point guard na shooter. Gusto ko ng shooting talaga. Sila Gab alam to. Shooting, wing players, kaya maglaro multiple positions. I'm going for a player na used to be a super scorer but became a very steady floor general rin na up to now, I'm very happy na nag-breakout season na siya finally sa PBA. I think it is due. Masipag talaga to. Kilala ko to nung first year pa lang ng high school. I'm picking Wami Chongson. Also part ng 5
Yes!
team. Yeah.
My
He
batchmate
won-
sa draft
Batchmate.
natin!
I think si Wami ata didn't complete the 5 years. 5 peat. Parang he won 4 kasi parang he shot out ata nung freshman year natin.
Yeah, he did.
college.
He shot out you as a freshman. But yeah, you're completely right, Maui. In grade school, pati in high school, he was known as a super scorer. And because he had such a soft touch, great jump shot, great long range shot. And in college, evolved this game to become more of a distributor. Still had that threat to be a shooter from the outside, but he could play make effortlessly. And that's why he was called in high school Magic Chongson, di ba? Yun yung nickname ni Coach Mike sa kanya. Magic Chongson because he could play make, he could dribble, he could run the fast break. So, Magic Chongson, fast break!
Actually, di ko alam na super scorer siya. Tapos, ang
He was.
okay pa din. Kasi yung first time ko napanood siya, ang nakita ko talaga is pure point guard. So, kitang-kita mo yung talino niya, yung passing. Yun nga, accurate ang Magic Johnson.
And he wasn't true blue. He actually came from Colegio de San Agustin. And he was torching our grade school team. Sina our batchmates, sina JV, sina Ivan. Shout out to them. Whenever they would play si Wami from CSA, he would torch them for like 30 points, 40 points. He was the only guy who was really good in CSA. And eventually, Ateneo had enough of Wami torching them that they decided to recruit him to Ateneo, and the rest was history.
Pinagagawan pa yan, Gab, ng Ateneo and Lasal nung coming into high school.
Yeah.
Because he was torching both of them dun sa mga leagues, both Ateneo and Lasal. 30, 40 points. So, nung freshman year, pinagagawan pa siya ng Ateneo and Lasal. Even that early.
He made the right choice. He made the right choice.
4 championships. How can you argue with 4 championships?
Of course.
Plus a championship nung juniors year.
Yes.
Naka-champion din ng junior. So, he made the right choice, I think.
Yeah, I remember kasi batchmate nga namin siya, Apo. So, naalala ko, tinanong ko sina Ivan nun. Parang, kaya niyo yan nung juniors kami. Kaya niyo yan. Nandiyan ka naman siya si JV. Kayo yung magiging leading scorers niyan. Ganyan. Kayo yung magiging stars. It's parang kahit sina Ivan were saying like, de ba, si Wami yung magiging scorer niyan. Like, he was that much of a scorer na parang they knew that time na Wami would be like the leading scorer. Like, ibang level din talaga to si Wami. Maui, may isa ka pang pick.
Last pick, no? Last pick
Yes.
ko, one of my favorite players then. I think this guy is supremely underrated. Even now, and he's also causing a lot of stir right now because of how the SBP and PBA has treated yung potential transfer niya to South Korea. This guy played for Ateneo for 4 years because he came from San Beda. A very underrated guy, also a glue guy. He could have played guard for another team, but he played the 4 position for Ateneo. And it was a perfect complement to Turdi and Kwame, which is why they won multiple rings. I'm picking Will Navarro.
Yes.
Good pick.
I would call him actually Rich Alvarez light because his game, whenever I watch him play, I would see a lot of Rich Alvarez game. Not as much, well, he can dunk, pero he didn't dunk as much as Rich Alvarez. But he defends all positions. He rebounds the ball. He can shoot, not that consistently, but he can shoot, and he's a lockdown defender. Again, he's a guy you can put on someone's best scoring guard or best guard on the other team, and he can lock him down. So, Will Navarro. Do we want to get into the SVP? I don't think we're going to go into
No.
That's for
No.
another
That's
time.
for another podcast. Love this guy then, Will Navarro. Perfect for the tab system, no? Yung that type of
Player.
lengthy player that can play multiple positions, defend multiple positions, has decent shooting and ball handling then. So wanted him on my team also. So good pick for me.
Apo, last pick.
Okay. For last pick ko, isa siya sa mga favorite Ateneo players ko also from that 5 feet. Kasi kung hindi siya makukuha, malulungkot talaga ako. So, I'll get him now. I'm getting Eman Monfort. Big inspiration for small guys.
Small guys.
Tas
Yes.
galing Team B, tas nag-start for a championship team. Underdog story talaga si Eman Monfort.
Wow. I actually didn't think na anyone would pick Eman Monfort in this draft. Wow.
Ako, I had him on my list. Kasi grabe din talaga yung impact ni Monfort. Tama ka, Apo. Like, he was such an inspiration to like everyone. Lalo na kung hindi ka naman 6-footer, di ba?
Yeah.
Grabe din yung pinagdaanan nitong ni Monfort. And he was able to cap that off with like a championship.
So, quick trivia for everyone. But there were a few, I think 1 or 2 years where Evan Monfort was cut from Team A, from seniors team. In college, you weren't allowed, I think, to play in the IAC, yung intrams ng Ateneo, if you were part of the seniors team. But since he wasn't part of the seniors team, he was playing in the intramurals. And he would pull up from half court. Ganun talaga siya. As in, people would watch him play. Meron mga IAC all-star games. At talaga, wala siyang hiya. He would cross, para siyang Steph Curry, would cross half court. And there was Ateneo Maui. Ang liit ng courts sa courts natin.
Yeah.
So,
Walang corner 3 doon, Gab.
oh, walang
Walang
court.
corner 3. Walang corner 3.
Outside na yun eh. No?
So talaga yung si Eman Monfort, halos half court na siya tumitira. Dahil parang Steph Curry talaga siya. So pumapasok every time. He was a intramurals legend in yeah, he really was. Talagang kinakain lang niya yung mga naglalaro lang. Tapos bigla lang si Eman Monfort nandun, mag-score ng 50 points. The hell.
Parang ganun, Gab, si Jack Chia daw, kumbaga nung early 2000s.
Yeah.
Intrams din na
Version-
discover.
Intrams na discover si Jack Chia.
Okay. Gab, last pick.
Last 2 picks.
For my last pick, I got the big man earlier, and this guy is still around. Again, I love point guards, and I think this guy is very, very underrated. And people remember him for making that pass to Doug Kramer in the 2006 finals. Maki Escalona.
Yeah, I think he's like the top talent in my list, my remaining list. So yeah. Ateneo High School din. Ateneo High School galing.
Yes,
So yeah.
I call him underrated because for much of his college career, he was a backup of Eli Tenorio. It was only in his senior year that he got to start because LA graduated. But if you watched him play, he was so good. And he was a big guard for back in the day. I think it was around 6'1", 6'2". And that was big for a point guard when you had guys who were below 6 feet playing the point guard position. If anyone wants to watch a game for Maki Escalona, watch that game where Eric Tenorio was suspended for punching Jerwin Gacko because I don't know, pero kami, sobrang nagpanic kami na si Maki Escalona yung mag-start at point guard for Ateneo. But he killed it. He honestly won that game for Ateneo. shot, I think, 4 threes, made all the big plays, didn't turn the ball over that much. It's a pretty solid point guard, Maki Escalona.
Kahit Gab kahit yung 2006 finals nung Game 3, si Escalona ang nagdadala talaga nun.
Yeah,
Game na
because
yun.
JC was
He
having
scored 20 plus.
bad game. JC was having a
Dalawa
bad
having
game.
a bad
Kasi
game.
Maki Escalona carried the
Probably
load.
kung if you're right, probably kung hindi niya kasabay siya ni LA Tenorio in another lifetime, baka iba yung spotlight na napunta sa kanya.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and
So good si Maki Escalona.
yeah, and I think alam mong magaling din si Maki kasi he was able to he had a decent PBA career. I think maiksi lang siya pero he played decent minutes sa PBA. I think nag-Ginebra din yan at one point. So I think solid point guard din siya for Ateneo and one of the top point guards in Ateneo. Tama ka. I think overshadowed lang talaga ni LA din talaga.
Yep.
Okay. Sige, last pick. So I want to share with you the three guys that I'm trying to parang choose between parang sino dito sa tatlo, no. So ako I got a center na si Isaac Go. Then I got like a guard type of player si Eric Salamat off the bench din. So parang forward yung tinitingnan ko eh. So actually have Doug Kramer, Vince Tolentino, and Rafi Verano dun sa sa tatlo ko. So tempted ako kay
Love mo talaga si Vince Tolentino, no?
Ano na?
Love mo talaga si Vince Tolentino. Palagi mo
Yes. So actually I was gonna say tempted ako kay tempting si Doug kasi I think si Doug yung parang pinaka may star power sa kanilang tatlo. Like if you just think about star power, parang he was the star of the Ateneo team at one point. Pero for me, I just love the modern game of Vince and Rafi. I think si Rafi, if you just compare them career-wise, Rafi had like a better career, like was a better player versus Vince Tolentino career-wise. But tama si Gap. I just love Vince Tolentino so much na I'm gonna go for Vince Tolentino. And sabi ko kay Apo kanina, if hindi niya pinili si Mike Nieto, I would have picked... Oh, exactly. Sabi ko kay Apo, if hindi niya pinili si Mike Nieto, I would have picked him as my last pick just because of the intangibles, the leadership. And I think before Mike Nieto became that, I think it was Vince Tolentino during that first championship run with sina Ike pa. I think it was Vince who was that leader of that team. I remember nung hindi mo din mako-question yung game niya, 'di ba? Like he was that Rafi Varano, Will Navarro type of player for Tab Baldwin during that year. Yung forward that could defend multiple positions, rebound, hard-nosed defender, and may shooting. Pero I think yung the one that really stood out to me, I remember parang nag-speech siya kasi graduating player siya that year. Tapos naiiyak siya and then he was saying na he almost quit. There was a point na magkukwit na daw siya. Medyo sabog daw yung team, medyo magulo. Pero when Tab came in, nawala daw yung parang me mentality and it became like a team first mentality and he bought in that system and I feel like he was one of the leaders, that proponents of that system. So because of that, like I'm going with Vince Tolentino over Doug and Rafi Verano. So that's
magaling na power forwards, no, sa time ng Ateneo. Let's count them down. So many good power forwards to starting with Rich Alvarez in the early 2000s. You could make a whole lineup of versatile power forwards to go to...
May prototype no, Gab? Yung power forwards lahat ng Ateneo. Medyo pare-parehas. Medyo all-around power forward na both ends okay.
Okay. Recap, Sam.
Okay, so napahaba na ng episode na to but I think it was sobrang hirap mag-draft, no? So, recap
Yeah,
tayo
we're
for
biased.
Ateneo, sa team ko, I have LA, Greg, Chris Chu, Mamu, Dave Ildefonso, Isaac Go, Eric Salama, and Vince Tolentino. Si Gab, meron siyang Kiefer Ravena, Rich Alvarez, Japet Aguilar, JC Intal, Matt Nieto, Von, si Bugia, and Maki Escalona. Si Apo has 30, Ange, Raging Bull, si SJ, si Nusam, Kirklong, Mike Nieto, and then Eman Mournfort. Then lastly, Maui had Raba, Buenafe, Larry Legend, si Wesley Gonzalez, si Noy Baclao, Nico Salva, Wami Chongson, and Will Navarro. So that's our four lineups for Ateneo. I'm sure we missed a lot, so let's get to it. Pick one lang. You're to pick one more player na we missed out. Sino sa iyo yung like that one person that we should have drafted? Let's start with sa likod naman, Maui, since you were the last to draft.
Actually, nung pag-flash mo ng screen na ano agad ako na player talaga na na-miss natin is probably Dog Kramer or Jai Reyes. So for me, si Jai Reyes could have been my pick instead of Wami. But because of bias also on my end, I decided to pick Wami as my point guard. Jai Reyes was one of the most underrated players also ng Ateneo. And like Monfort, very marketable
Small
player
guy.
kasi small guy na talaga na lumalaban talaga na. So I would argue na both Apo and mine's pick na Monfort and Chongson could have been interchanged with the Jai Reyes pick. Yun.
Ateneo High School play legend din. So,
Ateneo
Jai
High
Reyes.
School.
Okay. Apo, next.
Okay, so, well, na-mention naman na si Doug Kramer. So, gusto ko na lang i-mention si Anton Asistio. I enjoy watching this guy play. Kahit naiinis ako pag nakalasal shirt ako. Naiinis ako kay Asistio. He's also a shooter, smart guy. Pero, as a fan of basketball, I love Anton Asistio.
Another Team B guy that worked his way into the team.
Yeah. And a hard-nosed defender, which is why I think Baldwin really loved Anton Asistio and preferred him over all the other guards he had.
Gab?
Ako pala. For me, Justin Chua. I think he's forgotten because he was the center in the third
In between
championship. Yeah.
Greg and Raba.
Between Greg and Raba, Justin Chua was the guy who was the man in the middle in the third championship. People forget about him.
He's doing good sa PBA right now.
Yeah, he's doing good the PBA.
Breakout trend.
Had a stint in Gilas, and he's a pretty solid center.
Right.
But yung just like Maki Escalona, he was a backup for most of his college career. Maki Escalona was a backup to LA, and Justin Chua was the backup to Greg Slaughter and Raba Al-Husseini. No. Sam?
Yeah, good pick, Justin Chua. Yun din actually naisip ko, but siguro like someone sort of similar in that mold. JP Eram. Same thing. I think siya yung naging center in that third, yung middle championship. So sila ni Chua, not offensively, parang not a go-to offensive player, pero ibang level of defensive presence din to. I think minalas lang kasi lagi siyang na-injure, no? So, baka that's also
He wasn't
why...
the same, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, baka that's why
siya
he...
nung college,
Oh,
kaya siya na...
exactly. But he had that one good year. Yeah, he had that one good year when we really needed that center. Justin Chua and JP Aram, doon tayo nabuhay. Kaya memorable sa akin yung year.
And Frank Gole. Don't forget about
Frank.
No,
Pero
starter
yun.
si Gol niya. Starter si Gol niya.
Si Aram blocked every shot that they threw at the ring. So, memorable sa akin yun. Obviously, like na-mention ko na si Doug and Rafi. Okay. Sige. So, with that, let us know who you think won this draft. Is it my team Pogi? Is it Gab's Uber Athletic team? Si Apo naman yung modern team, tapos si Maui yung team nakakainis, Team Asar. So let us know who won this team.
Wala
Let
si
us
Maui,
know.
yung thrown out lahat ng players niya.
Correct,
Mabait
correct.
naman na yung iba. Mabait naman na
Oo
yung
nga.
iba. Kalahati lang.
Binalance out niya, binalance out
'Di
niya.
ba?
And then
Tahimik yung iba.
let us know your teams as well. Sino sa inyo yung parang favorite Ateneo players nyo or who you would pick as your top 8 players. Like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. So, we just finished all 8 UAAP basketball teams. So, hindi nyo pa napanood yung other basketball teams, watch those episodes. In about 2 weeks, balik na tayo sa UAAP season, ano na tayo? 85, no?
85.
Okay, so watch out for that. We'll have more episodes for you for season 85. Once again, I'm Sam. I'm here with Gab, Maui, and Apo. Uh, thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Enjoy
Thank you
enjoy your
everyone.
day.
Thank you.